In the city of Chelm, there was a young boy. His name was Moshe. And every morning he would awaken at the crack of dawn to the sound of cock-a-doodle-doo. Didn't really sound like that, but best I could do. He would put on his clothes and run out to the barn and would do his morning chore of feeding Shloimi, the rooster. "Good morning, Shloimi. I hope you had a good sleep." And Shloimi would come right up to Moshe and look at him. Moshe always thought that Shlomi had something to say, but the rooster would just look up at him as if to be awaiting something. Moshe patted him on his little head, and then Shlomi the rooster would walk to a special wooden bowl and eat what Moshe fed him. Soon after, the young boy would run out to the front lawn of his family's little home and hide behind a bush as he witnessed a parade of men walking to that mysterious place that they walked to every morning and every night. And when the last one entered this place, he would sneak up to a small window and watch these men doing very strange things, like bowing up and down, muttering to themselves, and often drinking some weird brown stuff at the end, which was always a sign for him to run back home before they could see him. This mysterious place not only had some men doing some weird dancing things, but Moshe, after breakfast, would run back, and the men were replaced by young men sitting and arguing and yelling and screaming with their hands and talking like this. What is that, he thought. Unfortunately for Moshe, that was usually the time that Mom would call him into the house. "Moshe!" Mother exclaimed. "Why are you always looking into the shul? Your time will come, Moshe. You were just a little boy." "But Mama, what is shul?" Moshe inquired. "You will see, my son," Mother replied. Moshe, kind of puzzled, went back to the barn to check in on Shlomi the rooster, his buddy. As he entered the barn, Shlomi approached him again, looking like he had something to say. Moshe looked at him and asked, "What is this shul place, Shlomi?" The rooster looked up at Moshe. "What?" Moshe said to Shlomi. "What do you want to tell me?" The rooster glanced at Moshe and then began pecking on the ground. "Oi, Shlomi, I wish you could talk." Moshe responded and walked out of the barn. He walked over to the outside of the mysterious shul place and saw women playing some game with tiles. What is this place, he thought. And then, to his surprise, he heard a loud, booming voice behind him. "Moshe!" He turned around and saw a man smiling at him, but he was frozen. Couldn't say a word for about a minute. He kind of felt like how Shlomi the rooster feels. And then Moshe timidly said, "Who are you?" "I am Rabbi Meir," the man with the booming voice said. "Would you like to come in the shul?" Moshe's eyes grew wide. He said with excitement, "Yes, please." And together they walked into the shul. And as the doors opened, the light washed over Moshe's face, and his eyes grew even wider. What a magical place. Moshe looked up at the Rebbe and asked, "What is this place?" And the Rebbe responded, "Zeh ha'kirlah shelanu." This is our shul, our synagogue. The Rebbe held out his hand. Moshe took the Rebbe's hand, and together they walked over to the woman playing mahjong. And then he showed him the bookcase where the men get their sidurim, their prayer books, for morning and evening prayers. And then he showed him this curtain. Behind it was the most mysterious thing of all, the Torah. Moshe loved being in the shul. And after his tour with the Rebbe, Moshe ran home to tell Mama about what just happened. He gave her a detailed play-by-play discourse on the shul. And then Mama asked, "So new Moshe, what is a shul?" Without hesitation, Moshe said, "The shul is a magical place that anyone can hang out in." A place to hang out. No doubt, one of the important functions of a synagogue, I think, and one of my personal favorites, is hanging out at the shul. Traditionally, the synagogue has served three functions. Beit Knesset, a house of assembly, or a house to hang out. Beit Tefillah, a house of prayer. Beit Sefer, a house of study. And over the course of the last couple thousands of years, the synagogue has served as the primary residence of the Jewish community, for that is where we make Jews. And that sense of community felt by those that participate also creates a connection to our past, actions that make the present more meaningful, and foster an energy of dedication and commitment toward the future. As we've talked about, the mitzvah of ledor vador, transmitting our tradition to the next generation, is vital to our survival. The synagogue is where that happens. The synagogue is where we can learn and actualize our Jewish identities, a place that we can practice tikkun olam, repairing the world from its brokenness, where we embrace learning and being there for one another. The synagogue is a place where Torah comes alive and the stories of Torah can be embraced as teaching moments, even if they are not literal truth. For example, when we think of this morning's Torah portion, the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, which is for so many of us a challenging at best story of faith. And over the course of years, we have actually struggled together on this story of the Akedah. We've interpreted from the lenses of Abraham one year, Isaac another, Sarah another, even God. But what about through the lens of community? What obligation did Abraham have to his community? Yes, he was the leader, but is it a best practice for a leader to act completely on their own, without investment of others, without creating a safe and trusting environment? This past spring, I was invited to become a part of the 24th class of ALF, American Leadership Forum. ALF is a network of regional leaders committed to serving the common good in Silicon Valley. In this program, we are exploring the processes of collaborative leadership that has the potential of strengthening our capacity to address public issues. ALF's mission statement states that it is dedicated to building a better Silicon Valley community by joining and strengthening leaders to serve the common good. I am proud to be a participant in such an amazing program, and one of the highlights of the program is a 6-day wilderness retreat that I was on this past summer. I climbed a mountain, rappelled off a cliff, and spent a half a day on my own in the wilderness. It actually sounds more intense than it really was. But in that experience in the high Sierras, which I'll talk more on Yom Kippur, I was given the opportunity to reflect on my leadership style, and not only where I have been, but where I would like to go as your leader and as a religious leader here in Silicon Valley. As your leader, I recall in 1999, when I began, I acted much like Abraham did. Let's do it, guys. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. And trucking up the mountain, I did. I made great time, and then I realized, wait, I'm alone. Well, it may be lonely being a leader, but it's even lonelier leading no one to nowhere. Oh yeah, I can climb up that mountain all I want, but if you're not there with me, then what's the point? And what is the point if you are climbing it by yourself as well? I believe that each of us has an obligation to our Jewish community. And the reason why we have survived thousands of years of existence is because of our ancestors recognizing their responsibility to us. Do we get our role in all this? Do we really understand our role? Do we understand that each of us is obligated to maintain our Jewishness and pass it on to others? This does not mean your biological offspring alone. For some, they are unable to do so, either by choice, medical reasons, or the reality that their offspring are of a different faith. Either way, we are responsible collectively for the future of our people. And what does that mean? Our ancestors, maybe going back just to one generation, gave us this gift. For some, they have taken the gift and have done nothing with it. Others have taken the gift and have unwrapped it, embellished it, added to it, and have passed it on to those after them. But is that the completion of our obligation? I think you know the answer to that question. Of course not. We are obligated to pass on our Judaism to the next generation. This is not a relay race where once you pass the baton, you're done. Oh no. This is about passing the baton over and over and making sure those that run after you are able to pass it on to those that follow them. Abraham climbed up Mount Moriah with his son. Isaac is a willing participant. How times have changed. For if we wait until our child or grandchild is a teen, it will be more about dragging up the mountain than experiencing the climb together. In our parashah, Isaac asks questions of his father. But Abraham answers in a disconnected, invalidating way, nearly dismissive. He's only concerned with accomplishing his set goal, not realizing all along that the greater goal was next to him the entire time. For it is in the conversation, in the journey, that is what is truly important. This is not about climbing a mountain, placing your flag and coming back down. This is more about the climb together, the journey of self-awareness, the asking of questions. This is not about having the answer, knowing the truth, or having all the power. For it is in that conversation that Abraham and Isaac don't have where a relationship occurs. And it is in our actions with one another that is truly important. It is not about getting there. The goal is about the journey. It is about how we experience the process. As I stated, the synagogue has some traditional definitions that really still operate today. But let us add another definition. The synagogue is a place to just be. Feeling connection with others, with ritual objects, with the energy of the past, with the fresh spirit of the young, the wisdom that comes from learning with veterans of life. A place to take a deep cleansing breath and to feel the comfort, peace, warmth of our Jewish tradition around us, holding us, guiding us, blessing us, comforting us, grieving with us, laughing with us, and enjoying each of our uniquenesses. Being a Reformed Jew is about feeling empowered as an individual and acting in community as a unified force, as a collective energy. Moshe in the story was not only curious about the shul, he wanted to be a part of it. How do we respond to those that want in and can't open the door? Every year, as many of you are aware, we pick a theme that is reflected in the sermon set that I preached during the High Holy Days, but more importantly, it's the theme of the curriculum of our religious and preschool programs. We try to weave this theme throughout our synagogue experience. Torah and Ledor Vador have been the most recent themes for obvious reasons. But this year, our theme on our 151st year of existence is HaKilah Shelanu, our synagogue, our community. The Keilah part is pretty self-explanatory, for Temple Emanu-El is, in fact, a congregation. But what does that our mean? We live in a world that seems to emphasize individuality, selfishness, and externality. These values often keep us away from what is truly important and meaningful in our lives. It may feel great to have an individual accomplishment. The Olympics were a great testimony to that. But the most exciting part for me of watching our Olympic teams were those athletes that work together as a team, like our women's gymnastics or our soccer teams. That does not mean that those individual achievements are less important. Michael Phelps was amazing. But there's something transcendent when a group accomplishes something together. For me, climbing up the mountain and especially rappelling down a mountain was more about group achievement than my personal achievement, I assure you. I was flat out scared. And the encouragement of others, the patience, the willingness to validate feelings, all of this helped to give me the courage to push myself beyond my comfort zone. Community has the power to make the individual even stronger. Now, many of you know I love baseball, and although I may be a fan of a team that many of you sadly dislike, I am first and foremost a baseball fan. Even rooting for our local Petaluma team in the Little League World Series I thought was absolutely exciting. The A's are a team that I have respected for many years. Why? Because they are more about team effort than individual stardom, unlike our NL West teams. In a team sport, each player has a role that helps to accomplish a mutual goal. Judaism is the ultimate team sport as well. Temple Emanu-El has had 150 plus years of amazing teams, and for one, I'm incredibly proud of being the senior rabbi, following in the footsteps of Joe Gittin, Alava Shalom, a blessed memory, but so too following the footsteps of Maurice Engelman, Milton Fox, Harold Kahn, Bert Hirsch, Bob Crandell, and so many great and committed leaders that have helped to create such a loving and magnificent energy that is our congregation. This year has been a challenging one in many, many unique ways. But my takeaway is not the challenges, not the extra work, not the difficult situations. My takeaway is the partnership our staff has with our Board of Trustees. It is the incredible administrative team we now have in our office, finally! and it is an educational program that runs from toddler to adult. It is a leadership who works as a team with our staff, accomplishing what we all believe to be first and foremost best for Temple Emanu-El. I love this congregation. Honestly, I love you. I'm thankful for being given this opportunity to be your rabbi, and I embrace and encourage the growing of our team. Each of us is part of the hour. For this kihila is not just mine, it is not just the past's, it is not just yours, it is not just the future's. It is all of ours, and my friends, it is about now. And that is what makes it so special. And that is what makes the potential so exciting. Abraham took his identity and his values and schlepped his son up a mountain for them. But I would suggest a different version of the Akedah. Abraham is tossing and turning all night. He wakes up from his dream in a cold sweat. Sarah caresses his shoulders, saying, "Are you okay, Abe?" Abraham looks into the eyes of his life partner, Sarah, and shares with her his dream. "Sarah, I've been called to take our son on a journey to prove our faith to the one God, a journey to Mount Moriah. I'm not clear on what God really wants, but I believe it is my devotion and obedience he is testing." Instead of telling her what he is going to do, he asks a question. "Sarah, what do you think I should do?" Sarah responds, "Follow your heart, my husband, for where you go, I will go, and your God is our God. Let us journey together. Let us discover together as a family what this all means. And let us share with Isaac our dreams so that he can become part of our life journey." And so Abraham and Sarah talk with Isaac and the other members of the clan, sharing with Abraham's dream, investing them in the decision of what comes next. Together, the community decides to journey to the unknown. This version of the Akedah is truly about faith. Not just Abraham's faith in God or in his dream, not just Sarah's faith in her spouse, not just Isaac's faith in his parents, but faith the community has in its leader and the faith the leader has in his community. Abraham does not need to lead by declaration, but by opening his heart to the possibilities from those around him. Yes, he is the leader, but a true leader opens her heart, mind, to other possibilities. So together they journey, they climb the mountain, inspiring, encouraging, supporting each other on the journey. Is that not on some level what it means to be a Jew? Yes, we wander. We are good at that. Yes, we've been exiled. Yes, we have been persecuted. But we are in it together. Whether we buy into it or not, we are an extended family. And maybe the Akedah was never about faith in the God of the Bible, but rather faith in ourselves, our families, and our community. Acquiring faith in our peoplehood, in our clan, in ourselves is maybe one of the benefits to being on this journey. And yes, that may mean getting out of our comfort zone and having faith in another. Hakila Shelanu, our congregation, our synagogue, needs each of us to be a part of the whole. And yes, that is about financial support. It is about coming to services maybe a little more often. Don't worry, I don't take roll. It is about each of us trying one new thing, a chavurah, an educational opportunity, a social function. It is about seeing a need at our synagogue, and instead of complaining, we embrace it as we would our own family. Because Temple Emanu-El is our family, our extended family. Each of us has an obligation, and it is our responsibility to follow through on that commitment. Can you imagine what we could be if each of us participated in one thing more than we do now? Can you imagine if we each gave a little more financially, what we could accomplish? I am proud of our shul. Are you? If you are, then show it like you have never, ever shown it. And if not, then look in the mirror, stop blaming, and pick up the piece that you believe needs to be put into place. Go and make it happen. This is as much your synagogue as it is anyone else's. And if we each took that message into our hearts, then we have the potential of creating something magnificent. There's always another person or 10 that would be willing to make it happen. with you. So just ask. For we are a team, we are a shul, and we are whatever we want to be. The future of Judaism depends on our collective commitment. Abraham, looking into Sarah's eyes, says to her, Sarah, I can only do this with your support. Sarah responds, babe, we're in this together. This is not a story that is unheard of. There are spouses that pick up and leave for their spouse's job, or school, or family. And this is done out of love, commitment, and trust. As a synagogue, I'm asking you to join me on our journey. I'm not exactly clear where we're going to go, but I can tell you that our 150-year-old family history has given us a great foundation from which to work. And the beauty is that each of our uniqueness helps to make the whole that much more incredible. Each of us has a part in this future. Each of us has the opportunity to make this Temple Emanu-El community the best it can be. As I say to our bat or bar mitzvah students, it is known as the fourth rule of working with the rabbi. Do whatever it takes for you to be proud of you. Like Moshe in the story was able to look at the shul with excitement and anticipation, so too do we need to embrace that energy again. My synagogue family, I say that to all of us. We must do whatever it takes for us to be proud of our synagogue. If our collective energy collaborates with our individual uniqueness, we can become something so much more incredible, something that we can all be proud of. Please join me in this incredible opportunity, because we can make a difference together. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will, may this be our action. Amen.